Federal Ministry of Works adopts more workable measures to end delays of contractors in project delivery, expresses commitment to creativity, innovations, and thinking out of the box to meet the road infrastructure needs of Nigerians. As part of Strategic Infrastructure Development Master Plan of the Renewed Hope Administration of His Excellency President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, the federal government has adopted workable measures to end the old order of unnecessary delays in the execution of road infrastructure projects by contractors and has taken steps to rejig the monstrous contract price variation clause, which has been a major clog in the wheel of progress of project execution over the years. This was contained in the briefing of the Honorable Minister of Works, His Excellency Senator Engineer Mweze David Umahi CON, during a meeting with contractors handling federal government's projects held at the Ministry Headquarters, Mabushi, Abuja, 11th day of June 2024. The Honorable Minister expressed the urgency of thinking realistically, creatively, innovatively, and thinking out of the square to overcome the funding challenges that face road infrastructure development in Nigeria.
First is to say that when we came on board, as at May 29, 2023, Mr. President inherited a total of 2,600 projects, totaling over 15 trillions. And at that time, those projects were ongoing, and only about 2 trillions or thereabout were satisfied and paid. And so we now had an ongoing projects of over 13 trillions. Some of them were sukuk, some of were budgetary provisions, over a number of years, some NMPC tax credits, some, private sector tax credits, PPP, EPC plus F. All these funding models total to over 2,600 and over 13 trillions.
He stated that the aftermath of fuel subsidy and the forest forces affected drastically the contract cost elements, pricing of which variation on price VOP could not provide a remedy, especially for jobs awarded so many years ago, and where VOP on contract was sometimes hitting 500%.
The ministry looked at it realistically, and we felt that there is no way you will ask a contractor, to use the same price of earthwork, as at when the job was awarded. And by the way, some of the jobs have lasted some 18 years. Some 11 years. And so when you now do VOP or price review, you'll be getting sometimes 500%.
He further stated that in looking for a solution, the ministry sought for and got Mr. President's approval to give an envelope in the 2024 budgetary provision to keep all the inherited projects alive, believing that more funding of such projects could come by thinking out of the box. The new projects under the 2024 budgets, including the consultancy projects of the National Assembly, also have poor budgetary allocation.
And so we appeal to Mr. President to do two things. One is that we give our envelope in 2024 budgetary provisions to keep all the inherited projects alive. The President directed that should be done. And that's why you see most of our projects are ongoing projects in the budget. But with the very poor budgetary allocation, 50 million, 100 million. You have 100 million for an ongoing project that is about 100 kilometers. But we have to do that, believing that there could be, other ways that we could fund this project, including PPP. And then we also have some new projects, especially the constituency projects of the National Assembly, which constitute over 90% of our new projects. And yet, these constituency projects are also of very poor budgetary allocation.
In tackling responsibly the challenges of funding, price variation, and delays in project delivery, the Honorable Minister introduced responsive approaches which were adopted as the ministry's measures to overcome the challenges of road infrastructure development in Nigeria. Such measures include, but are not limited to, reviewing the VOP clause to ensure workability in line with economic realities, making it a policy that all contractors handling two carriageway projects, with the exception of the 3 legacy projects, must first complete one side of the 2 carriageways and thereafter continue with the second part subject to availability of funds. Advancement of funds after award of contract is subject to conditions contained in the bid document. Going forward, Other measures adopted were that contractors must have a timeline for project delivery, and every contractor shall have a duty to maintain the road under construction until the entire project is completed and delivered. A deadline shall be given for all ongoing projects, and with time, all projects that have no funding shall be stood down, but projects will be selected zone by zone or state by state for funding.
All contracts that have, apart from the legacy projects of Mr. President, 3 of them, but every contract that has dual carriageway, both of them can no longer go on at the same time. We have to take one carriageway and continue with it and conclude it. Where one carriageway is in existence, we will be maintaining that carriageway while we continue the new carriageway construction. If you are carrying the 2 carriageways together, we may not have the immediate funds to take the 2 carriageway. It's better to take one and take it to the end so that the public will be managing that. While we now come back to continue, we are not taking the job. We come back to continue the other one based on the availability of funds. And we frown at people that leave the carriageway and concentrate on drainage. We want the carriageway for people to be using it. Then we can come back to the drainage. Some of you have been on projects for 18 years and we have devised a means to tackle you. Now we are not going to accept any partial handover unless the employer directs. Because if you have 100 kilometers of road, we have to split it into 4 to commission. So you finish with 5%, we can come and commission. But that will not relieve you of your responsibility to maintain that road until you finish it. So if we allow you to be on the road for 18 years, you have to maintain the road with your money.
In applying these measures, he emphasized that all contractors will be treated equally.
And so one thing that is our policy is that no contractor in Ministry of Works will be treated differently. Whether you're an indigenous contractor or you're a foreign contractor, so far you can turn cement to the right grade and place it rightly, you're a good contractor, we check it and it's good. And that is what is serving us. Because we will not have any reason to offer to National Assembly, to Mr. President or the public. If in a particular location there are 2 contractors that are working and we have given them different prices for similar projects.
The Honorable Minister noted the various projects completed by the contractors and other major ones to be ready for commissioning from July 2024 and directed the directors in charge of each geopolitical zone to officially and publicly commission the various projects completed in their respective zones. He further directed that committees made up of the ministry's engineers and the media correspondents be set up to pay inspection visits to the respective zones to assess the level of project performance in all the federal government projects being handled by the Federal Ministry of Works under the renewed Hope administration.
We had 330 projects that Mr. President approved on an emergency basis, totaling over 260 billion. As of today, we have completed over 80% of such projects. We have. And so if we are to ask Mr. President to come over to commission them, nothing else will be done. And I think that a cumulative project of over 260 billion is quite a milestone achievement for this ministry and for Mr. President. So I'm directing the PAM Secretary to direct all the regional directors to do the commissioning of these projects throughout the nation. They commission it, they put it in social media and put it in television so that Nigerians will see what we are doing. I want you to go and examine these projects of the contractors, and you have to examine it, you have to speak the truth so that you fish out those who have been pretending.
This was signed by Honorable Barrister Uchenna Orji, Special Advisor Media to the Honorable Minister of Works.